Welcome to the That's Not Important Right Now, a podcast on advertising. I'm Ian Reed, and I'm going to be by myself for today. No, not really. We're going to have some guests joining us, but unfortunately, my partner Jared has decided that he has, you know, done all that he can for the podcast, and he has decided to move on to other things. So we wish him well. Thank you, Jared, for joining us. Just to say that he and I, we came together and decided that we would do this podcast in the middle of the pandemic because shit, we didn't have anything else. Well, no, not really didn't have anything else to do. But we thought, well, it would be nice to do something, and involve our friends and, just kind of chat about things that we had experiences with. One of the goals was to uh, basically put these things down and write them down, which, to be honest, we haven't really been doing. But moving forward, I think I really want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be bringing on more writers, and we're going to change up the format a little bit moving forward for the rest of the season. We have our we I have my the Halloween episode coming up, so that's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm going to be recording that next week, so I'm going to be probably bringing on some guests. Just to, our last Halloween episode was very well received. If you haven't listened to it, you should go and listen to that. That was season 2 last year. It was quite fun. We had Daniel Simbana. I keep saying we. It's no longer we. I'm a little bit sad because, I'm losing my partner, but I'm also gaining some new insights and some new ideas and so on. So I wish Jared well, and I hope he is successful in things that he do. Please do go and continue to listen to him on Platinum 103.5 FM. He's on in the morning, 6 to 9. Also follow him on Twitter at Jared Butts. He will follow you back. I don't know why. But I'm Ian Reed, and I used to work in advertising. So from now on, it's going to be Ian Reed, talking about things that, impact me. I could probably just ramble on and talk random nonsense. And if people decide, well, this is not what they want to hear anymore, thank you for at least subscribing. We were glad that I was glad that you decide to take a listen to us, and I am hoping that you will stay because we're going to do some interesting things. I'm gonna probably create some segments this time around, be a little more structured and focused, and talk specifically about specific things. Not this evening though, because things have kind of been thrown into a loop. So we're going to continue our very organic talk thing. We do our Halloween special next week. And then, well, for you, it'll be the week after. We record this on a Wednesday evening for Monday morning. So if you're listening to us in traffic, please don't blow the horn. Please don't, you don't lose your temper. I will be coming on and just, talking about stuff. Uh, there will be more live productions. I will be doing more live stuff. So please follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/redesigns. Please follow me there and like my page, uh, redesigns.pro on Facebook. Um, I really have to stop saying And one of the things that Jared and I had discussed was to be a little more prepared. We really, I really didn't want this podcast to be a kind of, stuffy, structured kind of thing. It's more like, you kind of banter talk and things come out. This is what it was when you do brainstorming in an ad agency. You talk to your partner and or your other guys and you brainstorm and things come out, ideas start to flow and stories start to come out. I remember this thing and I remember that time and such and such is the case. So I was at the supermarket today and I saw that Peardrax has changed its labels and I thought that was interesting. It's pretty cool. It's a shrink wrap. Okay, anybody who knows Peardrax, Whiteways of Wimple is a strange story. It's a very, very, very old company. Peardrax and Sidedrax has been around forever. It's the kind of premium soda pop drink that people drink. It was originally a British production, came from Britain. And because we were a colony of Britain, it kind of ended up on our shores. And the product has actually disappeared from the other places and it stayed here, the Caribbean. So I saw the new packaging. They changed the packaging. I don't know why. So yeah, let's bring on Quincy and let's have a little conversation. Hello, hello, hello.
I mean, I would tell you it's about purpose. If you're doing something, I am a big believer in doing things for a reason. So if a reason, a solid reason, which I think I have a solid reason by the nature of wanting to talk about and document the industry, then I think, continue doing just that. That's all. And I really study, don't think about, if people will stay on or if it will work out. Just do what you could.
Yeah.
As the best you can.
Yeah. That agreed. I think after we talked about it and we had a discussion, I think it was only like an hour before I came on. He come and he dropped this thing on me. It's kind of like, all right. So I'm totally unprepared, but we will figure something out. So like I said, we talk a lot about, things like Crix and B-Mobile and TSTT and all of these brands carved that really, have no real major competition. But I saw that Peardrax changed its label, which to me is a big deal. That is a big deal because Peardrax, I mean, we all know Peardrax is 3-4 generations who know Peardrax with this kind of, how would you describe it? It's a very cheapy looking label. But I was describing what Peardrax is. Peardrax is this, it's supposed to be a premium soft drink.
And it's always funny to me because it's a soft drink. I mean, a good tasting pear flavored soft drink, but it really is just soft drink. But it went into making it this premium thing that you only get around Christmas time in small sips.
Yeah. It's like champagne. You couldn't afford champagne, say buy Peardrax. And then somebody have a bottle of Sidedrax and you go, oh, Sidedrax.
But change game day, Sidedrax.
Yeah. But I don't know if you go to grocery, you'll see it. It's a purple, I was describing it. They've taken the same bottle. It's not brown. The bottle is not brown. They've gotten rid of the brown bottle, but they've covered the whole bottle in this kind of purple shrink wrap.
Right.
And it's interesting because even though they've kept the branding as similar as possible, they've updated it to make it look a little more modern and so on. But you know, these when you shrink wrap around bottles, there is a tendency for things to get distorted and twisted in the production process.
Correct.
That's just, normal stuff. So I don't know how, because some of the bottles did look a little weird on the shelf, but it does stand out. It does stand out. It does look different. But I don't know if people are going to be like, well, because when the Cricks changed their packaging from the bags, well, from the tin, wherever they had before, to these bags, to this kind of rolls thing, people are like, yeah, Cricks don't taste the same anymore. Cricks is crap now. I don't like Cricks or whatever the formula. I don't know if people are going to think, hey, this Peardrax is going to be tasting different because it's not in the brown bottle. Because that was the signature,
That's
But
something
I mean,
that
you
all
see,
brands had to manage in terms of migration.
yeah,
Chilean brand migrates, well, I shouldn't call it migrate, but update the image, right? They
yeah,
tend to lose a lot of brand loyalty just because, the general public kind of fickle in that way. And
yeah,
people make a decision that saying that you're changing labeling, saying that you're looking different, they might probably not bring the same thing that I got from your brand from before. The goodwill might somehow
yeah,
shake up. But
yeah,
and especially in terms of things like bottles, because like an amber bottle will give you well, from what people know with beer, for example, amber bottle protecting light getting inside and all them kind of thing. People might reach all that to say maybe it might taste different because more light getting into, but there's all them kind of things. But I think it have
I was told that about Heineken. That is why Heineken is in this green bottle, because it's supposed to keep it from, getting whatever, what you said there. But I see Heineken launched a clear bottle for the non-alcoholic version, which I thought was interesting. It's clear. Now, I've actually not seen the product. I'm not buying no non-alcoholic beer. I think that always someone. I might as well buy sweet drink. But I mean, the idea is that, and Carib is in a clear bottle. And you have the people who swear by Stag, which is in a green bottle, and swear by Carib. And I'm like, they both taste the same. I don't see the rivalry here. But actually, interestingly enough, somebody sent me a TikTok of a guy doing it literally 5 seconds. This is what Stag is. And he proceeds to describe some strippiness. And that is it, a 5 second TikTok. And then he did one for Carib, the same way. And it literally is like, it's very funny. But at the same time, you realize, well, they don't really care about the difference between Carib and Stag. It's the same thing, the same thing, But yeah, I mean, coming back to Peardrax, I would love to see the campaign communications that the agency has been tasked with. I haven't seen any communications from them yet. I think they had just started putting things out on the shelves. Because I had noticed, I said, but wait a minute, I've not seen any Peardrax on the shelves.
Had any new livery on the shelves, a new shelf talker, anything talking about the new
Nope.
thing?
Okay. Nope. What they did have is a little necker on the 1 liter bottle, which looked like the old label on the neck of the bottle. And I found that a little strange. It looked cool, actually, looked kind of cute. But that was about it. There's nothing saying new bottle, new design, new same old flavor, but new design, nothing. It was just that. And I was like, okay, I did notice it. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's see what happens next. And probably, how these things go, as the trade gets updated, the people start receiving the collateral to put it up. But Peardrax has never been one to put shelf talkers and those kind of things. I've never seen things like that.
Not allowed brand at all when you think about it. And I've really studied it, but Peardrax has not been a loud brand, I still hear Peardrax ads that's ended from Whiteways or Wimple and thing.
Yeah. But it's interesting, this Whiteways of Wimple thing, though. The story behind that is so funny. You know that the guy bought the name, right?
Oh no, I didn't know the story. I
He
hear
bought.
something else, I
He
can't remember.
changed his name. The Trinidadian guy changed his name legally to Wimple, right?
Yeah.
And apparently he went and in England you can buy a lordship and buy the name of the lordship. And the Wimple family said, well, nobody's left in the family. And he said, well, shit, can I buy the name? And they're like, yeah. So he became Wimple. At least I remember reading that at one point. And that family doesn't exist anymore. Neither in Trinidad, England, nowhere. It just exists on the books of, well, I don't know who's the distributor of Peardrax's. I think it's Hand Arnold is the distributor. And I think they just, it's just on the books as Whiteways of Wimple.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's interesting how that brand works, that they don't do anything else but Peardrax and sidewalks. They haven't innovated and say, well, we're coming out with a Mango Drax or something,
I mean, why?
Yeah.
Because you're running at Peardrax and Sidedrax all these years, and
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, business booming because the amount of weddings and not
Yeah.
weddings and
Yeah.
Christmases
Yeah.
that you're supplying. You don't really need to support yourself too much.
Yeah.
But
I remember one.
I like this.
Go on.
I find that like no greater update than changing from that label that hasn't changed in such a long time to something that actually using shrink wrap and that kind of thing. Not like super modern for a brand like that. That's a try out.
Yeah. But the cap is the same too. Like, Peardrax cap is this kind of cheapy looking screw cap thing. And you're like, you always think, but if this is a premium brand and it's supposed to be like a champagne sweet drink or soft drink or whatever, why the cap so shitty, man? Because it's breaking up in little pieces and falling off. Why this cap so shitty? But they're still using the same cap because again, that's part of the brand. Everybody expects that, The opening of this thing also has when you buy that 1 liter, you're making sure to screw that cap back on tight because you don't want that gas coming out. You want this thing to last.
I actually think that is a ploy. Exactly what you said there. When you crack that cap, you have to do real good to keep that to put it back on to keep it fresh, right? So
yeah.
Just to use the bottle when you open it. I feel that's purposeful. But just not make a better cap that can house this thing properly because you have to drink it by the bottles.
But the other thing is, what I was going to say is that years ago, Heineken came out with this, what they call the Magnum. Remember the Magnum? I don't know if they still sell it. I don't know if they still do. Which is this giant bottle that looked like a giant champagne bottle. It actually had a champagne cork and everything on it, but it was Heineken beer. It's a typical normal Heineken beer. I remember going to a friend's wedding, and it was her wedding, and the groom in the reception say, "I promise my new wife only drink one beer." He says, "I only drink one beer." Then he would pull out this giant Magnum and say, "Look, my beer." I thought, well, that is what it's for. It's for those kind of things. It's a what you call it? It's a gag thing. You're not going to just buy this. Yeah, novelty. Yeah, and then when Carrot came out with its what do you call it? The keg thing, and the Star came out with its keg thing. I'm like, well, this is cool and all that, but this ain't going to be for general purpose people buying kind of thing, It's a novelty.
The Carib keg, I think they do Carib and Stag and the others too, right? I think that was a nice move because it fell in. At least I saw it for the COVID, for the lockdown. And I remember who it was going. Check Ting was doing some content around that. And the whole idea was, well, you lock up inside, so buy these kegs and have them, and you could lime and drink and thing for the extended period of time that you're gonna be inside for. So I find that was real. It was novelty, but it wasn't like real frivolous. It had a
it had a purpose.
I find that was cool. Which I'm not saying the Heineken one wasn't cool, because I find that was real good too. Actually, at that time we was doing 4-1-1. Anthony, Burnley, and myself, and Stephen, doing 4-1-1. And I remember we did what they was doing, but they had some song competition, some music, a DJ competition, I think.
The sound off. Was it a sound off? I remember that. Yeah. They did a sound off.
I remember that much.
Yeah.
And they gave us some bottles of the Magnum as promotional stuff, to give away. We had some giveaways and things. And that was big, People really wanted them bottles, It was real move. And I think if Heineken offer that, I feel people will buy them like in parties and that kind of thing. For the same number, but I think it will.
It's like your poor man Hennessy. You buy the bottle of Hennessy and you share it around there. You're bligging and you're banging and you're balling and whatever. You had the Heineken Magnum bottle. That was your baller. Your baller was this Heineken,
The thing is, it falls into the same problem that you get with having a big beer. Is get already 40 ounces and all that too. Beer, well, in our culture, we like cold beer, beastly cold beer.
Yeah.
But from the time you pop that and, you pass it around a couple of times and you warm to everybody's hand and think that beer drop the temperature. So you end up at some point sipping some hot beer,
But the sales guy told me when he said what you're supposed to do is it's supposed to be like champagne where you put it in a bucket of ice. I'm like, nobody going to put this in no bucket of ice. He said it's supposed to go in the cooler and you take it out and you drink it and you put it back in the cooler. I'm like, this is beer. That's not how it works. But hey, that was again novelty.
To buy a Magnum and drink it, put it to the head. That is how.
Yeah. But that was a heavy bottle, boy. That bottle was heavy. Even though it was empty, it was heavy. Like, if you fell that bottle, you kill somebody,
It was proper bottle.
Yeah. So, Quincy, what's been going on? What's been going on this week?
This week, for me or in things?
Well, for you, I guess. Yeah.
For me, same old, a lot of the same old. Some projects that are jumping out. Actually, I have a nice project that I'm working on between tonight and tomorrow. That lining up for Carnival. So that's a little exciting. That is the main thing this week. Along with writing some things as well, some books actually to put out.
Okay.
Actually never say a book. I was inspired to write a book. It was
all right. That's good.
But I saw certain things and I realized, you know what? You had to stop sticking on this and start.
Yeah. Put the money where your skill is.
Yeah, basically, But just so that it have some representation out there for certain things that I think need representation. I will put it that way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I just did actually a wrapping up between like tonight, so I could release tomorrow. Wrapping up a little video that I did a review on. What is the name of them by Nouveau Industries. They're putting out life instant products. That's the little packs of callaloo and dal and the instant. You saw it?
No, I haven't seen it, but
instant dal, tomato choker, bygone choker, callaloo, and something else. Pumpkin. Like you have these little packets of powder and it's open, easy open pack. You pour it out. I believe the resealable, come in to think of it. but the portion sizes you don't need to receive. I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, you pour it out and you just add hot water. In some cases, 4 ounces. In some cases, 10 ounces. You recommend it. And you mix it and you choker drink. You know?
like wait, but like real choker, like you getting chunks of
close
thing.
to real choker. Like yes, like the Callaloo had actual chunks and thing in it. The bygone choker had like it was smooth, but it had a little texture to it. You see the little seeds, pepper seeds, and even seed in it. And I think it was good. I think it was good in terms of the idea, technology wise, and innovation.
Yeah.
I think it have plenty work to do on the taste, on the kind of things, but I think if you reach this far and being able to get it to that powder, I think you need to go in the labs and sort it out. So like,
well, Trinis, if it's not tasting that good, they do one or two things. They either add it to something else.
Correct.
So you're going and add it to some dish or something, an experiment, or fling it.
yeah. That's how I was seeing it. Like of the 5 that we had, well, they only have 5. So of the 5 that 2 of them workable for me as intended by the company, which is the bygone choker. That was close to the real thing, and it tastes good. And the Callaloo also was close-ish, a little less successful than the bygone, but still enough,
That's cool.
But the others, like the dal needed salt bad. The tomato and the pumpkin overly salty, like real salty. Salt kind of scene. But they get the flavor that they was going for, like you get a little acid in the tomato and that kind of scene. All of them depart, like good enough. All of them smell good, but in the taste, they had to fine tune that a little bit. But as you were saying, and as I write in the review, I would use the tomato choker, for example, as like a base for anything tomato, sauce-wise, as well as I might try it with a little, like a fish if I'm making a stew fish or something. Try that in the sauce. It can work that way, I feel. I think it almost. But price-wise, I don't know if I want to call it come like a real over extra tastemaker. Hear that, I mean?
Yeah. But this is a local company that's doing it.
It's a local company. It's a local product. Yeah. So from that aspect, I really like the innovation that going into local industry A as well as B. It's a nice. I feel proud to have the product showcase like that. If we can export that kind of thing and have that in bygone as an option on the market, nice.
I was interestingly enough, I was talking at a meeting this morning with a former client who used to work at McCann. He's starting a new business venture. And what he was saying is that he wants his business, I can't say what it is yet, but he wants to sell to the diaspora. He said that's the holy grail. Now he is doing Trinidad-related stuff. And he says the key is to do things that the diaspora. So what you're talking about there is precisely what people has come down here and want to pack up in a suitcase, in a bowl, and carry it back up to New York, So if you tell them, well, look, I just buy 100 packs of these or a box of these, you can carry that up, no problem. I don't know what customs could tell you, But I mean, it's safer than carrying something liquid or whatever, trying to ship bygone choker or whatever it is. So that. But I mean, the thing is, it is important. We do have, and I also remember having a conversation with one of the guys who organizes Veil Vibe. Veil Vibe in Bigger Martin. They used to have that religiously every year. Well, they moved up here into Santa Cruz, but Veil Vibe is exclusively for former Diego Martin people who moved out of Diego and living in the States. And that was their, you say, when we bring them all back just for one day during carnival time, so they have this reunion. So we do three things at the same time. We have a carnival fete, we bring in foreign exchange, and the people have a reunion and they have a fete and they're happy. I just thought, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, we have a lot of people outside there, and as what this guy was telling me, he's like, they want to have, they're looking to get the Trinidad flag to put up in their apartment when they finally, move up to the States. They have to have the Trinidad flag. And when they're doing a Zoom calls and thing, you have to have this Trinidad flag behind them. So they're looking where I could get a Trinidad flag, or I need to get a something Trini. Like he said, when he was abroad, he wanted to buy a pan to hang on the wall. I like, oh my God. He said, not to play though. I just wanted to hang the pan on the wall. I like, what? But essentially, that's what
people is really patriotic when they go outside.
Yeah. But they get patriotic when they're out there, But that's a different story. That's not important right now.
There's something in that, right? That I will say, when I hear people talk about providing things for the diaspora, I understand the move, I understand the thinking, but I guess might be some post-traumatic or something with me. I was kind of cringe a little bit because part of that in my head is always be, let us neglect local, right? Community that's here, the market that is here. And I see it from a kind of slightly different perspective, in that I believe in doing things that for Trinidad and Tobago and for the Caribbean, right? Specifically for Trinidad and Tobago. And I believe if you do that well, it will be unique enough that it will be interesting to people on the outside, right? People on the outside includes the diaspora and people who will be homesick, right? So like, using the same thing, for example, the same products. On one of the products, which one it was? The dal. The dal says it has dal big, right? And actually, I'd like you to see the packaging. I like to hear what you had to say about the packaging. I had some.
Send it to me and I'll take a look at it.
When I'm posting the review tonight, most likely. So you check it out. Packs there.
Yeah, we check it out. So
on the dal pack, it says, it defines it as split peas soup, right? And yes, it kind of is, but it's dal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find like that is kind of, for me, it's kind of make it like, the pumpkin is just pumpkin. They didn't call that one pumpkin too. Yeah. Well, it's not really pumpkin. It's make pumpkin. They define it as stewed pumpkin. Things like that. They kind of watered it down to make it palatable. And I really do believe in that, because if you take a cue from film, right? I remember distinctively my experience with Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood, that was one of the first films that I looked at, and I was quite aware that these people talking hardcore slang, right? The American South Central slang, hardcore. There were no subtitles. That was the time of closed caption, not playing that. Just had to watch this and figure it out. Figure it to hell out, right? Same thing with Snatch. Snatch had, like, the dialogue in that was that accent hardcore. And nobody really made any concessions for people who didn't understand it. And it wasn't unpleasant to me in that I was figuring it out, and I was glad that I was able to know that a deuce was a 22 shotty. I was glad that that's what we wasn't saying our mark at them times, or I realized our mark is and I was cool at figuring it out. So why do we have to put them kind of disclaimers on our stuff? Why we have to do film and,
why we translate?
Why is that? Why you can't go and find out what dal is? And dal not intrinsic to Trinidad. people saying dal all over the place, right? Why
Yeah,
why we had to water it down like that? It's dal, brethren.
yeah,
Get it?
yeah. That's what it is. It
Yeah,
can't be anything else. Saying it's a pea soup or whatever it is. No, it does. It's not. It's not a soup. It doesn't work that way. It, I mean, it's the age old. Um, what is it? Not. I wouldn't call it controversy, but difference between people who eat callaloo as a soup and people who eat callaloo on rice.
right,
Like my father is a hardcore. I eat callaloo as a soup,
right.
and I like it as soup. Crab and callaloo soup. That is the thing. And other people like, no, you gotta eat this with rice. You gotta put this on. You gotta take it out with the crab and everything and put it on something. And like, no, it's not a sauce. It's not But coming back to, I mean, look at when we were doing the packaging for Maggie way back in the day for soup. And they come and they say, well, we have to redesign the cock soup packaging. Everybody was laughing. It's like, when you hear cock soup, what that for? That for your genitals? What that for? And the what you call it? The marketing manager said, well, they use cock soup in mannish water. I'm like, what the hell is mannish water? And then I went and researched it, and it is basically goat head boiled in a soup and whatever. I like, holy shit, this is awesome. But nobody's out there saying that this is goat soup, because it's not goat soup. I see the picture, see the goat skull, the eyes pointed, looking at you like, holy shit, I'm not drinking this. No. But I mean, again, Jamaicans don't ask, they're not putting a translation, for example, for cock soup. Not that needs a translation. They're not explaining what it is. It's cock soup with pumpkin. That is the soup pack. That is what you get in. Why are you asking questions?
I think we suffer from a kind of inferiority complex where we just constantly feel that for some reason we're not good enough. That is how I feel.
Yeah.
A partner of mine, a good friend of mine, Steve Odette, actually was telling me about that experience that he had. He had one of his either a friend or friend of the family or family member. His nickname was Pumpkin, right? Nickname was Pumpkin. And somebody was referring to him as Pumpkin. And you don't know who is that? We don't know who is Pumpkin, We know who is Pumpkin. and that's two completely different things. When you think about that, to nickname a man Pumpkin, there must have been a reason, right? And that reason doesn't align with pumpkin.
Yeah. One is a food and the other is,
That's how we speak. And
a squash.
And I think that is part of an essential part of our culture, how we speak, how we express ourselves, how we embody certain things in our word or in a sentence or a phrase, I don't feel we should make apologies for it. I feel we should do it and let people learn it. Let people be interested enough.
Yeah.
Be interesting enough that people will want to find.
But we've had so many food people come down here. What's his name? Who died the other day? The CNN guy.
Anthony Bourdain.
Like Bourdain, for example. I mean, we've had other people like that come down, do videos, do YouTube videos, do whatever. So it's getting out there. There was a video where a guy went and checked out Trinidad food in San Francisco. So the doubles, the bacon shark, all of those things. I thought that was great. That was awesome. So I think it's getting out there slowly. So yeah, we shouldn't be afraid of saying, well, this is doubles. Don't try to explain it as being chickpeas and a float, which is what they were trying to explain it as. 2 floats and chickpeas. That's not what it is. It's doubles, But yeah, I mean,
we've been outside. Like there is history of Caribbean influence and Trinidadian influence in the UK, in the States, and things for years now. For many years. I think it's enough to be quote unquote on the map, right? I feel that unlike Jamaica, I think we don't take the pride. That is all it is. We don't have the pride in what we do to stand by it no matter what, to be the, like, I mean, I keep talking about this because it's an interesting thing for me. In the earlys of Facebook, right, I was writing in dialect right through, right? And but clearly people having an issue with it. Like people used to actually comment on my statuses like, why are you talking like that? That kind of thing. And pretending to not understand what I'm saying and all that kind of fuck. And I know you understand what I say, so I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna I mean, you could pretend that you don't understand. I could also pretend that you don't like it. Guess what? I know you're gonna be on it all the time because it's fucking cool. I know that. You know? And not that I'm looking for any praise or nothing, but I watch as the landscape changed to people talking in dialect freely today. You know? Because it was always cool. But if like I keep thinking like if people like myself and others who probably was doing it too was really succumb to that pushback. I was accustomed to that pushback because I get also for 411. I write the whole of 411 in dialect. And that people say, if you want to export the magazine, you can't write it in dialect.
So
not
what?
True.
No, it's not true.
So, like, we have an inclination to pop down what we're doing, and not see the uniqueness in it, and try to subscribe to things that already exist. Like hip hop game, the local hip hop game went through that evolution. I'm glad to see it come out on this side, where at a time was people rapping in accent, in American accent. And I mean, I wouldn't knock it. If that is your expression, that is your expression as an artist. If that is where you are, that is where you are. But I think that a realms of a period of self-awareness happened, and people started to kind of follow or be true to who they are, which is really hip hop. Hip hop is your real expression, And I would give credit to men like Make It Happen. Right? Make It Happen. Who was Nature Dharma from before. He was the first person that I really realized was rapping in that straight Trini accent, straight Trini. And this is one of the better lyricists for me locally. Today, that's my number one lyricist, local lyricist, right? And he was writing real mad tunes, his flow impeccable, and he was doing it all in a Trinidad. Like, I mean, the 80s people are saying, well, where's that ice rap so? And he was like, nah, it's hip hop, I rap in, and that's rap. And he was the one who really tuned my mind properly to appreciate what people is doing in Spanish hip hop and what people is doing in Japanese hip hop, rapping in different languages, was using their not just their dialect but their language, to do. And I understood that our dialect is part of our language. That is our code. And you saw evolution where not today the majority of rappers locally rapping in their native tongue. And that's real nice.
I think we have a very interesting language. I think there are very few authors that really write in the dialect. They try to gentrify it a little bit to make it a little bit more understandable, but you don't need to do that now. I think people are exposed enough to various things that they can handle the truncation words. I always laugh at my English friends in London, and I write in dialect to them, and they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Get used to it," because if I want to really talk, like how I really want to talk, and I write this the way I talk it, you'll be totally lost, but you'll figure it out. You'll eventually understand what I'm, trying to say. But interesting story. I don't think I've ever told this story before on the podcast. But when I first went to England, I was in school. I went to school, and there was this school really was for anybody, not just young people like my age or younger. Anybody who wanted to do this course could do it. So there were pretty much people of varying age groups, and there were quite a couple of them who were already retired and they didn't know what to do with life. So they said, well, they go do a little art course here and there and, do something because the government pays for it, which is, So they're like, okay, cool, I'll do this course. So we're there hanging out, and this woman, she's elderly, very sweet woman, and I'm talking and she's looking at me, not confused or anything. She's listening to me. And halfway through what I'm saying, she says, I just want to ask, darling, love, are you black? And I was just like, excuse me? She said, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but are you black? I'm like, no, I'm not. What do you mean? She said, because the way you talk, I've only heard it from black people. Where do you come from? Who are you? And when I started to explain she's like, well, I never knew this. And this is one of the things why these guys do these courses and things, because they get to meet new people and, whatever. And she was so very happy to have met somebody, different, out there. She said, because all you West Indians all look the same. And that's racist, But I always tell that story because it never occurred to me being who I am and the way I look in a country like this, that when I go abroad, I'm classed. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just interesting how language has become associated with a group, which is interesting, I have, it's like, you see somebody sounding like an Indian and they're white. And you're thinking, well, how did you get this accent? Obviously they were born, in the culture. They were born there,
I've had a good friend, Charles Piku, who is Chinese and he was born in Jamaica. So when I met Charles, he was real on reggae and thing and Bob Marley
yeah.
and dancehall thing and thing. And I think, after this program, right? And after a while I realized, wait, the man really comes from Jamaica. He have proper roots in Jamaica though.
Yeah.
And he talk that Jamaican patois, he talk that, he know that, okay, all right. And after that, I ended up meeting a couple other people as of Chinese descent that were born in Jamaica, talking more patois than Charles. I was like, wait, that's a blow by, I never even considered that.
Yeah. It's the same thing with me when I went to Grenada. I had to shoot some stuff for Argosy in Grenada. And the photographer is an Indian from Trinidad. I mean, his family originally was from Guyana. They moved to Trinidad and then they found themselves in Grenada. And he says, I'm second generation Grenadian. And he sounds like a Grenadian. And I'm like, but you look like a Trini. You look, and it was like, I said, but do you have any family? He's like, no, we don't have any more family, any connections left in Trinidad nor Guyana. They've all actually gone to the States or whatever, or they live in Grenada. He said, my entire extended family's in Grenada. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. But again, coming back to using, if you want to bring it back to the whole advertising and genre, if you're going to be using, and I always discuss this in previous episodes, if you're going to be using dialect, know how to do it properly. Because you need to be able to be clear. Because sometimes you just listen to some of these ads and you're like, are you mumbling these words? Are you mashing up these words on purpose to make it sound, in the certain kind of market? Or are you just not understanding how to do dialect because you're not trained to do it? You're trained to speak properly. You're trained to act a certain way, you're trained to speak a certain way. When you try to do dialect, it just comes out wrong, and the ad sounds weird, you know?
I think it's more the latter, as in they don't know how to do dialect. I have experience like working at a lot of other writers. Um, in between, you find some who could really speak dialect and use dialect in the writing, but you have a lot that would say, I don't really know how to write dialect, and it's
Yeah,
because number one, practice. You practice writing,
yeah,
and times you're writing, you write in standard English. Number
yeah,
two, there are a good few who don't really use dialect in the day-to-day speech. A lot of
yeah,
writers will speak, quote unquote, properly.
yeah, yeah,
It's a bad thing, and I don't think that they should change that. But
yeah,
as is the case with anything, if you're trying to communicate some or create some advertising for tequila, you drink some shots. That's the best way to.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Let's get that analogy from Anjali. um, so, likewise, the best way to practice is to actually use dialect in a day-to-day. And
Yeah,
there's a hybrid, right? There's a in between when you're writing that you'll be able to use like use dialect for color more than actually writing the entire thing and just
yeah, yeah,
you can't do that. As a matter of
yeah,
fact, slang is something you'll stay away from because slang is
yeah,
on the side of like popular use kind of thing. But the standard dialect, standard words, you can use them things just to color what you're saying. And quite frankly,
yeah,
just create a nice writing style. It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
entertaining to read, very interesting to read. When I read back
yeah,
some things that I write and go back in and use the dialect as color to emphasize something, to put
yeah,
a comic relief in something, is make it
yeah,
nice and lively.
yeah, yeah. Like just using the word stoops, because that's inherent to us, When you say, I mean, it's easy for us to say to unconsciously do it, the suck teeth thing. But when you write it in a script, it just sounds weird. It's like how this person would effectively convey a stoops. Because I remember one year TNTech came out with this great ad. I always remember this ad. I don't know who wrote it. It might have been somebody from Lonsdale at the time, way back in the 80s, where they were telling you pay a bill on time. Right? Don't get cut. And the man come home and realize he ain't paid the bill. So you say, oh God, I think I'll just just relax and watch some TV or whatever. And then you realize he can't do that, so he stoops. And I remember the stoops being very, very natural.
Yeah.
And that sold it for me. It's like, let me watch some TV. It's like, and that's how the ad ended there. So I thought whoever produced the ad and did the ad really knew how to do this thing properly so that it wasn't just because I've heard people stoops in ads before, and it just sounds like yeah, and it just sounds not just condescending. It sounds dismissive. It also sounds so there are different inflections the way this suck teeth works that you pick up on those subtleties and you go, nah, that not sounding like it should be a stoops for this kind of setting kind of thing.
What I would say is that I would not script a stoops. Like I wouldn't write. I might quicker write sad or something like that. But
yeah.
Or put some sort of pause, some sort of dramatic pause, a command for a dramatic pause.
Yeah.
Because I believe a stoops had to be organic. The voice talent need to be able to say or decide, make that creative decision to stoops here to accentuate something.
Yeah.
Like a good example of that is not a stoops, but it was it happened. That tattle people are people. Right? What is sell that? What people is always remember is the end. That tattle people are people. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
That was not scripted, right?
Right.
Voice talent deciding to put that in. That is a big decide. That is actual, because I guess in the moment she decided or she felt like, that
Yeah,
as
it's
people
natural.
talking on the phone, that is how I do it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Frank Sion was the one, at least Frank Sion, that's the story Frank Sion gave me. He said his script that
yeah,
I had no reason to doubt him. But he was
yeah,
that she was the one that brought it to life. Most of the things
yeah,
there that made it sound natural was her acting and her deciding to do that, to take that
yeah,
as somebody talking on the phone to a friend. And what
yeah.
I'd say is over the years, I realized that the voice talent used to do that much more often than the
Mm,
a part of my agency experience. In the earlys,
mm,
go to studio, the voice talents that used to come inside there. Like the last of the Mohicans for me is Conrad, you know,
mm,
so who I worked with personally.
mm,
Conrad was a man that you hand him a script. I used to, if I know Conrad coming into the booth, I would write something that very sparse, to give him all the
mm.
room to do what he had to do. And he used to deliver. It used to be a joy
Yeah,
and see
yeah,
come to life in the booth. And to bring it back to what you're saying, a script coming to life is difficult to do that when you try to plot out all the things that need to happen in the script. You have to leave room for acting. So
yeah,
let
yeah. You
us
have to leave room for improvisation. You
create
gotta have some
a
improvisation.
scenario in which, as a writer, you need to create the scenario in which somebody who stoops versus
Yeah,
somebody too stoops. That is two
yeah,
different things. As long as you
yeah,
try
yeah, yeah,
that, it 90% not going to come out real because it's not.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah,
As you
yeah.
know,
My friend,
stoops has come from.
it's interesting.
We see something and that stoops just feel that stoops coming out and they let it go.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, 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 yeah. It's interesting because when I was in UE and I had to make a speech or something, and I was sitting down trying to write this speech, and I was literally writing funny jokes, to try to break up. I don't know if you know Anuradha Lakan. I don't know if you know Anu. Anu used to work in the agency in Lakan years ago as a writer. And she ended up moving around a little bit, but she no longer works in the agency. She's now a book editor. She does book editing.
Ah,
And
I think
Anu heard me reading out this speech. And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to write." She said, "You're doing shit." That's okay. She said, "What you're trying to do is you're trying to structure comedy." It always stuck with me. She said, "You cannot structure comedy. You cannot structure emotion. You can't write down. You have to, you have to, you have to do it in such a way." And I remember we sat down, we worked it out. It was just, little vignettes of things. The way I put it together, I can't, just so long ago now, but I remember I was actually having it was a kind of a debate with of all people, Shabaka Kamwan. And it was funny as hell because Shabaka was doing exactly what I was coming there to do. Shabaka was trying to be funny by reading out funny things. And it was just sounding disingenuous at the time. And
yeah.
it was just easier for me to poke holes in that whatever speech he had, or whatever it was at the time. But I always remember her saying that to me. It's always stuck with me. And especially through creative direction. You have to let things organically happen. You can't force a funny.
Yeah.
You can't force. You might be able to force something like a anger or sadness in a way because that might come out forced. But when it comes to emotion, you can't script that. You kind of have to brief. Like in the case of Conrad, if you tell Conrad, your character is this, he will take that and he will run with it. He will flesh that out. He will give that muscle, and he will take the bones, he put muscle and all kind of thing on it, and really give you the personality you want in the ad, which is also something that it seems to be a losing art now. For example, this I always talk about this stupid ad that's running where they're using this guy, the influencer ABC, the ABC guy, the teacher who does the ABC TikToks. it just sounds so, because they're trying to structure comedy now. Um, was it S don't this don't start with S or something? I don't think it was. It would have probably been funny the first or second time. After the most 100th time, you just want to throw this radio in the ocean because you keep hearing this stupid thing all the time. And it's because they keep trying to force the comedy. They're trying to shoehorn in something into something else just because the guy have a lot of followers and so on. They say, okay, well, you write, you do this, and we will write it for you. And that's exactly what it is. You gave the guy something to read, he read it, and it sounds like that. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of people taking a character in a radio spot and really owning it.
All that is the flaws of the wrong turns that I believe agencies make. And we all part it, you know what I mean? We all part it. We all went down the road. I don't pull myself out it, even though I was trying, but I take the responsibility.
But I'll tell you that comment you make at last week episode where you say agencies are shit. That real people message me, because I put that little clip out, and real people message me and real laugh and think and say, hey, that's true, that's real funny, but yeah, it's true. It's true, because nobody expected you to just drop that in the middle of the conversation.
At the end of the day, I mean, I honestly, believe me, it take a lot for me to reach there, right? People probably think I just bitter or whatever. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's after a lot of time, like deliberating if I should do this or not. Because I take being an artist real seriously. I take being a creator very seriously. I think I have a duty to use the talents that are developed to do things.
Yeah.
Working in an agency became difficult for me. I don't pong it 100% in that I learned a lot, right? I got to meet some real good people, some real serious creatives, and I learned a lot from them. But at the end of the day, the business of advertising and the way that things are structured is not really designed for a creative individual to be in. If their purpose, if they believe the purpose that they are there is to do what creatives do, which is make a difference, right? That is not the place. I have no problem with people who decide to do it. I and all, if I need to make money to mine, my children and thing and whatever, if I had, I would go to an agency and 100% work in the agency. My expectations is what I will manage. I will manage my expectations in that I will understand that I am doing a job, and the job is not about what I believe my purpose is. The job of an agency is to sell media space. So I'm going to do things in media space. At the end of the day, that means not doing a lot of things. That is less of doing and more of not doing. So if you want to do that, then you have to do that, but you have to embrace that fact. However, that I think agency is not doing well, right? Because in our modern landscape, there are certain things you need to be doing. And this is what is bringing me back to, you know what, at the end of the day, I'll have to say that agency is just shitty, straight up. They're just shit. They're just doing shit. And they're doing shit because you're not taking certain business risks, right? No, that's not just about shutting down creatives and all this kind of thing. Business-wise, you're not adjusting your model. You're not addressing the obvious elephant in the room, which is what happening to traditional media, right? You need to address it. And traditional, I was never on the team, traditional media must die. I was never on that team. Never on digital is the greatest thing on earth and the holy grail. I have always been on digital has come to the landscape and enhanced the entire landscape, the entire media landscape is different because of digital. And we need to embrace all of it, not just digital. All of us, we need to and have a very powerful weapon. But if people are thinking like that, then they wouldn't be able to adjust the model in a relevant way. Therefore, you pelted kick at your own ass. You're doing shit. That is how that come about, you know?
Yeah.
It's in a haphazard thing. And I can point out all the reasons why, you know. Anybody I can sit down with anybody and point out all the things I do. That's shitty at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
it. Some people have the attitude of we will ride the train until the wheels fall off. But when the wheels fall off, you fucking crash, dog. You know?
Yeah. Disaster.
Mhm.
All right. We have done a whole hour, which I was surprised about. I thought, well, hey, we'll probably just do a little half an hour and then, you know, but this has been very good. Q, thank you so much for jumping on and helping me out this evening.
Anytime.
I don't have the jar to do the defining, and I don't want to do the defining for myself. So what we will do is we will say thank you all for listening. I will be back next week and see who else to jump by. If Quincy wants to jump back on, I don't know what your times are like, Quincy. So I don't like to, you know, put it out and tell people I expect you to be, you know, no, not at all. But if again, every Wednesday at 6:30 until Christmas, we're going to be doing this. So if anybody want to jump on, I'm going to try to get Tracy Hutchins back on, and I'm going to try to bring on my friend Randall, because I want to try to get like a young person's perspective. Randall works in a content creation capacity in the States.
Mhm.
So I would like to, you know, bring him on to talk more about his experience working not in an ad agency that's traditional. It's more, they're more in the content creation business. And I think that's interesting. I want to try to do some more stuff like that. But definitely next week, we are going to be talking, week after, we are going to do our Halloween special. I really want to do that. So I want to do something special next week. So I'm going to try to rustle up some people and maybe have a little Halloween fun thing. Theme it as Halloween. You know? Because last year we did a great, you know, fun thing with some very fun, funny, scary stories. You know, you go and you sit down. You know, when you go down on Miara at night and there are no lights, and you're just like, let me tell some scary stories. That's the kind of vibe I want to get next week. So yeah, so we're organized for that.
All right, safe.
All right, Vinci, thanks a lot again. You all have a good weekend. Subscribe, like, all of those things, and I hope you always stick with us until the wheels fall off and the train crash. Thank you for listening to But That's Not Important Right Now. Cue the theme music.